Welcome back to Utah Motorsports Campus in Tooele, Utah. As you can see, the grid has cleared, and now it's all up to these riders and their machine to get the job done as we get ready for our warm-up lap. So this is a warm-up lap of 3 miles around and then grid and go. And this is the exciting part of the race. You can see the two classes within the class. That white back number plate with those blue numbers is the Super Sport, and then you'll see red backing with yellow numbers. That's the Super Stock 600. We'll be keeping an eye on both of those races inside the race as we get going.
And this is great because the track temperature's up. Actually, the air temperature's perfect. 84 degrees is not too hot at all. It's going to be great. The track temperature's perfect, and get a good look at our grid here. Our Dunlop Motorcycle Tires grid. Got Garrett Gerloff and JD Beach and Valentin Debise all under the lap record that was previously set here by Cameron Bobie. And then Daytona Anderson, great run for him. Benny Solis, 5th. Great to see Jason Uribe here. He's come back over from the CEV Championship overseas. He's racing for the Ridiculous Racing Crew this weekend, which is awesome. Michael Gilbert, Jason Aguilar, Jody Berry are row 3. Then we got row 4, all Superstock guys. Shane Richardson, G-Dub's pick. Jason Camacho, Nick McFadden with that still mending broken collarbone. Good to see him here. Connor Blevins, Andrew Lee, and look at this. Ezra Beaubier came from our slower group this weekend because he hasn't got any points, so he's qualified on row 5. Ashton Yates, Caroline Olson, Braden Ort are rounding out the 6th row. Back to row 7, we got Kinzer Naylor, Robert Pierce, Brian Drobowolski, try saying that a couple times, sorry. Sorry if I butchered that, Brian. Gage Reese, Brandon Cleland, Nolan Lampkin, who won our last chance qualifier race today. Jarrett Nassani, Ryan Richardson, Ryan Harper, and Josh Picard is going to round out our grid. The last 5 guys there all came from our last chance qualifier. A couple of them had never qualified for a MotoAmerica race, that being Josh Picard there. So great to see him make it onto the grid.
Well, that is a pretty impressive grid, and also impressive is JP's keys to the race. Because, Jason, when we do JP's keys to the race presented by Kawasaki, you got a lot to talk about. Yeah, well, first off, Greg, we've mentioned it already. The lap record in both these classes was smashed today. And 55.8, I believe, was the lap record in the Superstock. Michael did 55.3, and we've already told you guys what Garrett and all the rest of them did this morning. So that's going to be the one that we're looking at. Can Debise go with these guys? And the reason I asked that is he was a little bit off, even though he was under the lap record from last year. I'm ready to see this guy battle back up at the front with these 2 Yamahas. Hopefully he's ready to rip this weekend. Valentin's always ready to go, and the Superstock battle is back at it. We've had 3 different winners and 3 different manufactured bikes. I think if I had to go outside the line there, Jason Aguilar would be a guy that I would look at to maybe upset those 3. So here we go. We know Garrett Gerloff is sitting on pole, but all eyes on JD Beach. Why? Because the last 2 times we've raced here in MotoAmerica's existence, JD Beach has swept all 4 races. Can anyone beat the 2015 champ? Here we go, lights on and off, and the clutches are out, and we're on our way to turn number 1. And it looks like Gerloff got a good launch, but so did JD Beach.
Absolutely, yeah. Garrett got a great launch, and then JD's able to just kind of go back by him, and you can see Valentin is trying to get in that double draft of those 2 guys. Benny Solis riding behind him. Then we got our Superstock crew there with Jason Aguilar is going to tip in 5th. Uribe is going underneath Michael Gilbert, who's going to run, I believe, Daytona Anderson wide. So a little bit of commotion there in that very first turn.
Wow.
But we got our 2 Yamahas and a Suzuki, the guys that we kind of expected from that front row, Greg. And look at JD. JD's trying to get out early. He enters turn 3 a little tight, a little protective. All through here now, they're going to go up to 4th gear. They're going to get tucked in. This is flat out through here. These tires are going to be absolutely perfect going through there right now.
You can see just the difference in the top 4 already. As now Valentin Debise goes underneath Garrett Gerloff. He'll take over that spot. So now the Suzuki rider, Valentin Debise, trying to go after it. That M4 X-Star Suzuki trying to get it slowed down, but it looks like Gerloff has got to sweep around the... Oh, they almost touch, but Valentin is wide. As this thing sorts itself out, it is the 53.
Yes, it is. And look at Garrett's going to go underneath him under Witchcraft. That's such a fast corner and a huge commitment to do that. But look what's happening, Greg, with these 2 guys just kind of playing around right now. Look who's breaking loose. And Garrett goes very wide down through the attitudes. That's going to just cost these guys so much time going through there. And Benny Solis back there on the Honda just trying so hard to get a sniff of that action with them.
Benny Solis, last time we were here, race 2 of last year, was his first Supersport podium. He knows his way around this racetrack. So it's Monster Energy, Yamaluba YES, Graves Yamaha, the number 1 plate of Garrett Gerloff, fighting it out right now with M4 X-Star Suzuki's Valentin Debise. All the while, the number 90 25 of JD Beach, trying to make it 5 in a row here at Utah Motorsports Campus.
And this is where that draft comes into such a big play. Now, Valentin can just get in the draft of that Yamaha and see if he can do anything with Garrett. We're going to get to see right now if that Suzuki's got the legs underneath it. And Benny Solis also trying desperately to just get in the back of those guys, get into their draft.
Back of the field, you can see back at the top of your screen some of that dust kicked up here in the high desert as riders fanning out all over the place. Number 96, Jason Aguilar, leading this train right now, and it looks like Jason Uribe going a little bit wide there.
And Michael Gilbert's going to slide under them, so you got Daytona Anderson and Uribe both battling with the Superstock guys right now. Both Daytona and Uribe didn't get the best starts, so they're going to have to try to fight themselves through these Superstock guys to try to get back up to the leaders at the front. The 4 guys now are pretty well gone, so it's just going to be a matter of what can they do. As you can see, Jason Aguilar and Michael Gilbert are now tied in. Uribe is going to try to go underneath Gilbert here as they head into turn 5.
Oh, that's really going to slow Michael Gilbert's progression to keep up with the 96 of Jason Aguilar. So Jason Uribe now with the foot down, making some really aggressive moves. The Napa Valley, California resident of the Ridiculous Racing Yamaha having a go at it with the Superstock 600 bikes. Yeah, and Daytona Anderson also in that mix. Again, this is battle for position on the racetrack, and there is an overall points as well as a battle with inside.
Uribe was in there so deep right there, and you can see JD back up to our front pack here. JD Beach is broken away just a little bit. 55.8 from a standing start, Greg, on that opening lap. But JD has got all the splits right now. When we can look at the screens here, they're all, he lost the front right there, Greg. Yep. He lost the front ever so slightly. You saw him make an adjustment with his body. These are the last 3 turns of the track.
Let's talk about this, Jason, because Dunlop introduced this new tire. We've touched on it. It's a 180/60. Okay, so it is a lighter tire like Hannah talked about. It's also a narrower profile tire, so it works better with that 5.5-inch tire. What it's created is better edge grip, better edge feel to that tire, and flickability. So as it relates to the number 1, middle part of your screen up at the top there, Garrett Gerloff, he's a corner speed kind of rider. JD Beach tends to be a little bit more of a point and shoot and dirt track kind of rider, and Garrett really thinks that this tire is his tire.
Yeah, because he likes to carry that big corner speed like you talk about. JD likes to get in there, turn the bike, get it off the corners, but what you're seeing right now, this kind of track doesn't really lend itself to kind of squaring corners up that much, Greg. This is very much a flowing track, and you can see these 2 guys battling hard with each other. Uribe and Anderson going back and forth, both trying to make time here on Jason Aguilar, who I said at the beginning could be our one guy in Superstock that could really upset things. Michael Gilbert is just kind of tagged in on the back of him. You can see Nick McFadden there, and you can see Shane Richardson, you can see Connor Blevins, all just kind of sitting there in that Superstock battle. And Uribe goes wide out of turn 5. Uribe's off the track.
So
he's going to have to get himself back out there.
That's right. So Jason Uribe out of the mix on that one, as he was battling it up with the M4 Ridiculous Racing Suzuki of Daytona Anderson. Jason Aguilar on the Aguilar Racing Yamaha, that 96 out front there, as now Daytona Anderson out of Riverside, California, has latched right back on to him, and this is his second ride on this bike, Daytona Anderson.
Correct. He started on that bike at MotoAmerica, and you can see he's got a little bit of a good drive out of there by Daytona, and Michael's just kind of sitting there behind these 2 guys now that Uribe's not in this battle. And you can see Nick McFadden, what a great job he's doing back there with that injury. He realizes that he's got to try to stay in there and gut this race out, get these 15 laps underneath his belt. Maybe they could do something to make that bike a little easier for him to ride tomorrow. You know, just 3 weeks ago, he had a broken collarbone in a bunch of places. They plated it, they put it together, he flew to California, and he's doing just a remarkable job keeping that bike up front.
So JD Beach leads the way, 2.2 seconds the gap to Garrett Gerloff, Valentin Debise, Benny Solis, and then this battle, 96 Jason Aguilar, Daytona Anderson, Michael Gilbert. That's 5th, 6th, and 7th, as now the 104 goes around. No, didn't quite get it on the brakes. There is a difference in Superstock 600s and Supersport motorcycles. As simply as we can put it, there's more modifications allowed in the Supersport machines, as now Daytona Anderson slides his way up into 5th spot around Aguilar. So now the 104 on that M4 Ridiculous Racing Suzuki having his way and trying to chase down Benny Solis as he sets sail.
Yep, and now we got that Superstock battle right behind him. So Daytona did a good job getting through these guys. Be interested to see now if he can get himself away from them and start to hunt down Benny Solis, who's got a pretty big gap on him right now of 6+ seconds. But every lap that Daytona does on this bike, he's going to get more and more comfortable on that Suzuki. We've seen him previously on the ridiculous Yamaha. At the beginning of the year, he put in a great ride at COTA, but it's just going to be a matter of getting some laps underneath his belt and getting himself refamiliarized with a new motorbike.
Nick McFadden there, the number 16 on the M4 Med-Age Suzuki out of Owensboro, Kentucky. Talking about those broken collarbone problems. It's really hurting him, as Jason Uribe on the 36 trying to make up positions after he ran wide. And there's the 26 of Shane Richardson. He's on the Kawasaki. He's the third rider right there on that Palmetto Motorsports Team New Zealand. The story of those his rider and his team is incredible. And the 37 of Connor Blevins right behind him. So really, if you look at the super stock bikes up front right now, Jason, the rider who hasn't won yet so far is going to be Shane Richardson.
That's correct, and he's not won a race yet, but he's right there. But Jason Aguilar, who's leading the class right now, or leading the race right now, Greg, he hasn't won this year either. So Jason Aguilar actually leading the super stock battle. He has actually not won a race yet this year.
Jason Aguilar has 2 second-place finishes and a third so far on the season. So we have 2 riders up in the top 5 that have yet to win, as now it looks like the 37 of Connor Blevins has made his way around Richardson, and here up underneath.
Uribe just got in there deep again, and he just can't get the bike slowed down. So he had passed Nick coming down the straightaway, Greg, but he just wasn't able to make a stick. He's going to try to drive around him here as they head into turn 3.
Up underneath goes again Jason Uribe. That's for 8th spot we're looking at, and it is a super sport bike against super stock 600s, as it looks like the front of the field has kind of settled itself down. 96 Aguilar, 55 Gilbert. Oh, and it looks like the 37 of Blevins is starting to make some moves. He wants to work his way up.
Yep, he just goes underneath Nick, and that's going to be the thing to see. I've been watching Nick this weekend, and he hasn't done a ton of consecutive laps. That's because he's trying to save himself, obviously.
Yeah, he's hurting. He's hurting. I talked to him before the race, and he's definitely still in pain.
Absolutely, but what he's done here is he's got, if you look behind Shane Richardson, there's not a lot of people there. So if nothing else, Nick just needs to stay where he's at, try to get as many points as he can. There's a long way to go in this championship, but these guys he's battling with right now are all healthy. So you can see Uribe has gotten away from these guys a little bit. Connor's trying to go with him. Shane Richardson is
like
doing his thing.
Caroline Olsen down on the racetrack. So Caroline Olsen has had a crash. You can actually see the Dainese air suit has inflated. She's trying to get the bike lifted, but it's hard sometimes with that. So Caroline Olsen, who is actually in 14th spot and in the top 10 position in Super Stock 600, looks like she's down here. Lap 6 of 15 in the books. It's JD Beach on the Monster Energy Yamalu YES Graves Yamaha leading the way. 2.3 seconds now, the lead for JD Beach, trying to get his 5th in a row, his 5th victory here at Utah Motorsports Campus successively.
Easy to say, huh?
Beach.
That's
Yeah,
an easy one to say.
Yeah. That's a good word choice, apparently.
The thing about this guy is when he gets into a rhythm and he gets out into a lead, he just hitting his marks. He just puts the lap times together, and he just runs so consistency. Greg, he went 52.2 in this race. I mean, 52.2 is lap record. Garrett Gerloff is chasing him down. 52.8. 53.1 the last lap to 53.0 by JD. It's just that gap is just 2.3. It's really those opening laps that allowed JD to just get away. And you can see Valentin Debise is just, he's 54.6 the last lap. So they're 1.5 seconds quicker than he was in that last lap.
We talked about it before. 2013, Cameron Beaubier had set the fastest lap ever around this race course on a super sport machine. JD Beach, a 52.2. That is 2/10 of a second quicker than Garrett Gerloff qualified at in race pace. I mean, this is just amazing. What a performance.
Yep, lap record again, and I made the call that they probably wouldn't go that quick, and I was wrong on that. Obviously JD's, and he's doing it, pushing his own air too. There's no draft, there's nothing. And the comments that we made earlier about the Yamahas and the Graves Motorsports 600s really making a gigantic jump is just going true, because we've seen Valentin go with these guys so many times in the past, Greg, and he just can't do it anymore.
So Garrett Gerloff, the #1 plate, your pole sitter, out of New Waverly, Texas, on that Monster Energy Yamalube YES Graves Yamaha. And this is what we've seen from this racetrack, Jason. It seems like we either see real tight racing or we see the leaders start to break free. And there was a little bit of fighting going on between Gerloff and Valentin Debise as we started this that allowed JD Beach to eke away. But you can't take anything away from Beach because he broke the track record in a race.
100%. And these guys are still in the 52s. 52.9 for both the Yamahas, 54.4 for Valentin. And then we go back to Benny Solis right now running in fourth. He's at a 55.4 that last lap. So, you know, these are lap times that are kind of like what he did last year. Daytona Anderson broke himself free at a 55.7 from that super stock battle. It would have been interesting to see had Daytona get a little bit better start. He probably could have gone with Benny also. And then you got our super stock battle. Jason Aguilar leading the way right now. Just to give you an idea of how fast these guys are going, 56.1 to a 56.3 the last lap for these two riders. So they're into the sixes. Connor Blevins right now running third in the super stock class with Nick McFadden and Shane Richardson right behind them. So you can see Uribe back there just a little bit trying to make up that time on those two super stock bikes.
Jason Aguilar, by the way, last time by went his fastest lap of the race. Caroline Olsen back up and on the racetrack, so it looks like the Norwegian rider is back at it.
Air suit went down, so she's got herself back up, and this is over in the turn 3-4 area here. And yeah, you can see a little bit of damage on the chute, but the way it looks like, Greg, is probably just crashed. And maybe this turn here, probably turn 5, looks like a low side that she probably had, and they helped get her bike back up and get her going again.
Caroline Olsen noted as a lap down of 57.9, her fastest lap so far of the race. So Caroline Olsen on the 43 machine, Mean Motorsports Yamaha. That's a newer Yamaha, the 2017 model, and this is only her second race on the 2017 model, so still working and getting used to that.
Brandon Cleland was just right behind her, just trying to look for a way through, and JD gets her backed in into turn 1. It looks like he goes a little bit outside. There's a big bump in turn 1. We're going to be interested to watch him go through there again next lap, because he looks like he goes just to the outside of that bump. He gets the thing kind of backed in, and that's kind of what we see with JD a lot. But see, all these turns here, Greg, they're all very fast and flowing. The only other turn that he could maybe kind of square up a corner would be this next one that he's going to be coming into. You see how quick he gets into his tuck. We're through lap 7 right now, 53.4 to a 53.3, so Garrett was able to close a 10th. This is the one turn. JD will run it in there a little bit tight, kind of maybe square it up a little bit, get it back up off the edge of that tire so that he can start to accelerate. And that's where that new tire, you know, kind of was a little bit different feel for him. Again, this is another turn. The second part of this corner, you've really got to get your speed controlled in the middle of that turn. Even though they look like 2 corners, these guys will take them as one. Into this fast witchcraft corner, into what we call the attitudes here. This left, right, left. And this is where I was sitting the other day, and I couldn't believe how quick these bikes were flicking from left to right to left, all the way down through here. And they run out over the curbings there into turn 11, where we can't always see the entry to this, but this guy just always looks like he's on rails, and once he gets out front, he's able to just continue to put the pressure on everybody else to try to catch him, and that's exactly what's going on again right now.
So looking at JD Beach right now and his dominating performances over the last couple of years here at Utah Motorsports Campus, I think it's definitely a note to look at the restart of this race, because left part of your screen, it looked like that Garrett Gerloff got a great one, but JD Beach got in the tuck really quickly.
Yeah, he did, and that's what you have to do here. You've got to get as much as you can in behind that fairing so that you can get the best start that you can, and JD was able to run it off in there really good at the beginning here, and he hasn't looked back since. Garrett goes a little wide. That's all it takes. You know, they're both out there a little bit wide, funny enough. So JD actually drew Garrett in, but then that little bit of infighting there between Debise and Garrett allowed JD to just break that gap and get that gap out in front. So
10 rows of riders made it successfully through the first lap, and now back to JD Beach as his crew looks on. Now JD Beach, Jason, this particular race, Utah Motorsports Campus, in terms of the MotoAmerica schedule, falls in a little bit earlier than it has. This is round number 5, where last year it was round number 7. But it's worth noting that the last 4 races of the year in 2016, which was, Beach, come on, JD, which was Alabama, Utah, Laguna Seca, and New Jersey. JD Beach, he ran the table, you know, and so this, Garrett Gerloff and his crew, as I talked to him earlier this weekend, understand that JD has the ability and the capability with his team to run the table in terms of race wins. But with this championship only being 4 points apart, if it ends the way it ends, JD Beach is going to pole vault himself into the lead in the championship by 1 point as we head into tomorrow's race.
Yeah, that's a big thing. Now, going back, Greg, this is what you were talking about with the tires, where JD doesn't have the feel of the tire as well when he starts to accelerate on this tire. Through the middle of the corner where there's a lot of edge grip, JD likes to pick the throttle up and get on the gas because he's used to squaring things off. Garrett will run a little more corner speed and stay on the edge of the tire longer, which will allow him to not have to pick the throttle up quite as much. So that is what you see there with JD just getting bucked up out of the seat just a little. We're going to look and see that was still a 53.2, but his teammate right behind him, 52.9, 3/10 right there, Greg.
3/10 of a second loss on that lap from JD Beach. So now the gap, 2 solid seconds. So here comes Garrett Gerloff, and Gerloff back into the 52s. He just did a 52.984. His fastest lap has been a 52.849. So Gerloff, it doesn't matter how long the race is, doing really well. M4X Star Suzuki's Valentin Debise, the French rider, just got back from a week's vacation back home in France. In third spot, here's Benny Solis on the H35. Honda CBR 600RR, solidly placed in 4th spot. Then it's back to Daytona Anderson. That's the last of our super sport riders that are leading this freight train. A good run from Daytona Anderson, the 104, and there is our super stock 600 race leader, Jason Aguilar. He might prove us all wrong in that the Twitter pool.
Yeah, well, I kind of cheated because I said if there was a guy that was going to win, it could be this kid because he's been hungry and he's been looking for it and he's been awful close in the past. I remember even a couple of years ago, he was battling for the lead here and he had some incredibly bad luck in both races. But right now, Jason's doing a great job. He's got, what does he have over Michael right now? A little 3-second lead. He's consistently continuing to run fastest laps of the race, a 55.3 for him on the last lap. And it's probably helping him a little bit to see Daytona Anderson just in front of him. It's giving him somebody to chase, and all the while he's going to get to see that gap continue to get bigger.
As we look at the 96 of Jason Aguilar and we look at the Super Stock 600 battle just itself, not the battle on the racetrack, but it's Aguilar leading the way from Gilbert. Connor Blevins is in 3rd spot, and the reason why that's of note is because Blevins is leading this championship in the Super Stock 600 by 10 points, only 11 over Jason Aguilar. So the difference in points is going to be 9. So just with some quick math in my head, when we're done with this Super Stock 600 championship today, doing the math, there probably is going to be about 3 to 4 points that are going to separate the top 3 riders in that championship. JD Beach deep into turn number 1 as he gets hard on the brakes and gets a little bit of attitude from the front end of that motorcycle. Monster Energy, Yamalube, YES, Graves Yamaha, JD Beach, who has owned Utah Motorsports Campus the last couple of years here, has done it right. The gap is back up to 2.2 seconds. So Beach able to dip back into the 52.8.
And it just goes to show you, I mean, both these guys are champions, but JD knew he made a mistake on the lap prior to this. We saw him get up out of the seat, and he knew that, that his teammate probably gained a little bit of time on him, but that just goes to show you how he's really controlling the pace in the front. You get in the 52s, it's going to be hard for anybody to catch you.
And the thing with Garrett Gerloff, he and I had a conversation, the number 1 plate back there, is that he gives away nearly 30 pounds to JD Beach. And Garrett is aware of that every single moment of every single day. His entire fitness program, his eating regimen, his low-calorie, diet that he's on, he always thinks about how much he's giving away on acceleration to JD Beach. Is JD now getting around some traffic? Does it successfully around the 777 of Josh Picard out of Canada, the Team MG55 rider. Doing a good job of getting out of the battle.
Yep, just getting out of the way. That's a good move on his part. And these 2 leaders got through. Didn't really get held up at all, so that's a good thing. And you can see Garrett, man, he just doesn't stop trying. That's the thing. You got to keep that pressure on the guy at the front. I'm sure Garrett may have seen JD get kicked out of the seat, and that's just a sign of let's go ahead and continue to push as hard as we can and see if we can get him to make another mistake. But JD's such a champion, it's hard for him to do it. 53 flat, how about 52.7, Greg, from Garrett Gerloff. He is trying still. It's down to under 2 seconds now, 1.8 seconds.
52.720, the fastest lap of the race for Garrett Gerloff, and he does it on lap 11. JD Beach's fastest lap of the race of 52.2, and a new lap record around here was done on lap number 2. But JD was able to dip it back into the 52s the lap before. He had to get around some traffic, and that was a 53 flat. 1.8 seconds now. It's JD Beach, Garrett Gerloff, Valentin Debise, Benny Solis still in 4th, Daytona Anderson in 5th, Jason Aguilar came across the line, still in 6th, Jason Uribe in 7th, Michael Gilbert in 8th, Connor Blevins and Shane Richardson rounding out your top 10.
How about Jason Aguilar just went 55 flat? 55 flat on a super stock bike. That is flying. That's breaking the lap record again from qualifying this morning. He's doing it also with a 5-second lead or 6-second lead on 2nd place. So he's trying to go up there and race with Daytona Anderson right now and continuing to push, even though he's got his class well at hand right now.
Your reigning champion, that's why he's wearing that number 1, Garrett Gerloff out of Texas, trying to do everything he possibly can to reel in JD Beach. Here is the 91 of JC Camacho. JC Camacho in 12th spot currently, and he's about 2 seconds adrift of Nick McFadden. There's this battle going on. It's been going on all race long. The 37 is Blevins. The 26 is Shane Richardson. Both of those riders on Kawasaki's. And then Nick McFadden, the continuing to heal Nick McFadden. I'm not making excuses for Nick.
He's doing a great job.
But he's doing an awesome job. But I know from talking to him, he was definitely wincing, still in a bit of pain with that broken collarbone on the right shoulder. So this battle's going on in this super stock.
And JC Camacho's the danger man here, Greg. Like you said, he's right behind these guys. He didn't get the best of starts. We saw him have to work his way through the field a little bit. He's been riding amazing this year. But these 3 guys, if they hold each other up at all, they're gonna get to see JC Camacho in your background there, and big number 91. He's coming after these guys. So we'll have to continue to watch this. But going back to the Nick talk, if Nick can somehow stay close to these Kawasaki's and get in their draft on the last lap going down the front straightaway, you might see an opportunity for him to go past both of these guys. So he's done a fantastic job just keeping himself in this battle. He knows that there's points at stake here. Now Jason Aguilar is doing these guys a favor by winning the race. He's doing Nick a favor, but Aguilar's right there in the championship as well. So he's doing himself a huge favor. But this is a great battle for the final podium in 600 Superstock.
Shane Richardson, the 26 rider, second rider in your screen there, coming off of 2 podiums, 2 second-place finishes when we were at MotoAmerica, trying to find his way on the top step of the podium. Had to miss a lot of the session in qualifying because they were changing a clutch on that motorcycle, losing valuable time because Jason, a lot like MotoAmerica, this racetrack becomes every minute at this track becomes important because of the lap times.
Yeah, it's such a long track. It's a long out lap. If you have a problem, it takes forever to get back. But I see Shane kind of working on Connor here. You might see something down into turn 5, and he's going to try to go underneath him. Nope, Connor just gets in there pretty good as well. So it becomes, this track is got some great passing opportunities, but you have to be so perfect. And you can see these guys are both on the exact same motorcycle, but you can see the difference in lines. Connor has a tendency to run it a little bit wider on his exits than does Shane. And Connor's looking back there and back to the battle up at the front. 1.6 seconds is all it is now. It's just 2 to go. Garrett can sniff him. He can see him right there. And any little mistakes at all, as you see JD backing it in. But Greg, if you look at it, still looks to me like he kind of goes around that big bump on the into turn 1. So nice. It's a smooth line there for JD as he goes through turns 1 and 2.
Garrett Gerloff knows this is a long championship yet to be had. If he loses this lead in the championship by 1 point, it's not going to be the end of the world, but the question becomes, how hard do you push with 2 laps to go? Now less than 2 laps to go. That would be 0.8 of a second that Garrett Gerloff would have to claw back. However, there is lap traffic up ahead, and keep in mind there's blue flags that are waved around here, but this track is so big sometimes lap traffic doesn't see those flags being waved.
Yeah, so it's hard to see because everything's so far away, Greg.
It is,
track,
yeah.
Like you say, yeah.
So they go around Jared Nassany on the Altus Motorsports Suzuki. There's Benny Solis
running a solid 4th, and Daytona Anderson, and you can see he's
opened
up just
for him.
Great job by him, just being able to get through a little bit of traffic that he had at the beginning, and he's gone through now, and it's going to be some good data for him to go back. He's got a lot of laps around this track, and it's going to be some good data for him maybe to make some changes tomorrow. But I think if you go talk to Daytona, he's going to tell you his start is really kind of what buggered him up here. And good look at Benny Solis.
Doing everything he can with that CBR 600RR. He and his crew, of course, his dad involved in that program. A lot of boys and help from Honda in Torrance, California. But we all know the reality of the Honda CBR 600RR compared to a brand new 2017 Yamaha R6.
And he's been really sick this weekend, Greg. Like flu-like symptoms, he's been throwing up. And look at this, Greg. Garrett Gerloff's got it down to 1.1 with a 52.8 on his last lap. He is doing everything. And Greg, he is actually getting close enough. I don't know if it's going to be enough, but he's getting close enough to where if JD makes any kind of little slip-ups, Garrett's going to be on him.
This is the third season of MotoAmerica, folks, and JD Beach is the winningest rider in MotoAmerica history, by the way. So there's no doubt that when the situation gets tight, JD Beach knows how to bring it to the line. But it's still a long way to go here, about 2.5 miles to go on this circuit, and Garrett Gerloff is really putting the hammer down. Garrett Gerloff last time by still in the 52s this late in the race, a 52.859, and this is what racing's made of right now. Can Garrett Gerloff reel JD Beach in? Is JD thinking behind him, or is he just thinking about that checkered flag?
You can see JD doesn't take any time to look back over his shoulder. He's not interested in what's going on behind him. He's all full focus straight ahead as he goes through Witchcraft. He's in the last kind of quarter parts of these laps. There's only a couple of spots. Really, there's only one spot now left if Garrett was to get on the back of him that he could pass him. But it's not going to be enough right now, Greg. JD's just too good through these last little sections. The next left after this one would be the next primary passing zone, and if Garrett could have got off and got away from Valentin early, it would have been easier for him to do it, but that first 2 laps were key. That's
going to be the story of the race, I think, for Garrett Gerloff, as if he had shuffled off Valentin Debise a little bit earlier. Could this be a neck-and-neck battle all the way to the checkered flag? Here is JD Beach, Monster Energy Yamaha, YES Graves Yamaha. Second in points right now, trying to get back the #1 plate he lost in 2015. And JD to the line will take the win here at Utah Motorsports Campus. 1 second over his teammate, Garrett Gerloff, and you can see not even another motorcycle in sight.
Yeah, Valentin's quite a way back. He was 22 seconds back, I believe, going into this final lap. These two guys right now, just the class of it. And here comes Valentin. He's going to be happy with the podium. Probably won't be happy with as far back as he is, but he knows right now that the 2 Graves bikes are just a little bit better than his right now.
M4X Star Suzuki rider will stand on the podium. At Albi, France, Valentin Debise will finish in 3rd spot as we await 4th place to come across the line, and this can happen here at a very technical racetrack. Benny Solis now comes across the line in 4th.
Daytona goes through in 5th. Sorry about that. Jason Aguilar, congratulations on your first MotoAmerica National. That's amazing. It's good work from him, finishing 6th. Jason Uribe is going to come across the line in 7th, but Jason Aguilar will finish 6th. And first Superstock, Michael Gilbert comes across the line in 8th. In 2nd, and Superstock, and the big battle for 3rd is going to go to Connor Blevins. And JC Camacho had caught that group, Greg. JC Camacho had caught that group. He needed one more lap to do anything, but Connor Blevins, Shane Richardson, Nick McFadden, great job by Nick. JC Camacho 12th.
Jason Aguilar, our 3rd different winner in the Superstock 600 class this year. Can Jason Aguilar keep the streak alive tomorrow and do the traditional, at least for 2017, double in the Superstock 600? He'll be thinking about that in probably about an hour as he's making his way back to Parc Ferme to celebrate his first MotoAmerica National win. So congratulations to JD Beach, who takes the overall 1 second over Garrett Gerloff, his teammate, and his 5th win in a row here in MotoAmerica competition at Utah Motorsports Campus. We'll take a break. On the other side, we'll talk to him and see how it went. Stay with us. Welcome back to Tuala, Utah, Utah Motorsports Campus here at the Championship of Utah. MotoAmerica Supersport race number 1. We have 2 during the weekend. Is in the books. Of course, it was Supersport and the Superstock 600 classes battling out together as we had 10 rows of riders. And the tale of the day, I think, really is JD Beach and Garrett Gerloff reeling him in for the Supersport class, because Garrett Gerloff was pretty aggressive as we look at motorcycles that are called super bikes, which are going to be coming up later on in the program. And that is some exciting stuff to talk about later on. But really, Jason, anything that you're taking away from this race right now that really shines for what you think is going to happen tomorrow?
Yeah, Garrett's going to go to bed tonight knowing that he needs to get a better start and not hopefully get tied in with anybody at those first 2 laps, especially if he sees the 95 up at the front, because that was really essentially what cost him the race. Those first 3 laps of the race, 2.5 laps, are really what cost him. And I think tomorrow you'll see a little bit difference there as far as that goes.
So at this high altitude as well, you know, it's very interesting because when we're here in Tooele, Utah, one of the biggest things that riders talk about with their machines is always the lack of horsepower. And talking to crew chiefs and mechanics and engine builders, the speculation is about 10 to 15%. But that 10 to 15%, when it gets underneath a rider, they say it seems like a lot.
Yeah, and I think that'll go back to even our tire question, or tires that we brought up earlier. When we get back down to sea level, how much of a difference will this tire make when they get it to where they have a little bit more horsepower feel underneath them on the edge of the tire coming off corners? So, yeah, we'll see how that plays out.
So riders now are in Parc Ferme, and the winner of this one by a second and his 5th in a row is JD Beach. He's with Hannah.
That's right. I'm down here with today's race winner, JD. It's your 5th in a row at this track. Am I right when I say that this is where you started your winning streak last year, too? Safe to say, you know, you're on a roll. We can expect to see more of this from you for the rest of the season?
I wouldn't say I'm on a roll right now. I mean, Garrett did a great job, and he closed the gap a lot the last couple laps. I kind of got held up by some lappers, and I definitely myself made a few mistakes, and I've been a little bit off the pace all weekend, and I don't think my bike was quite, because of me, my bike wasn't quite ready to go at that pace the whole race, but we definitely have some good notes for tomorrow, and we're going to come out swinging and hope we can get a win streak going.
All right, best of luck to you.
Thank you.
A little off the pace, Jason, he's saying, and he just broke the track record at a 52.264. That's dangerous if he's a little off the pace, and they're definitely going to make some changes. But I think he thinks he can do a 52.2 the entire race distance.
Yeah, there's no question. I think you can't second-guess anything him or his teammate Garrett say, because they've got these bikes so dialed in. But he knows. It's a lot of pressure when you're leading a race and you see plus 2.1, plus 2, and then it goes to plus 1.9. All of a sudden you think, well, where's he making up his time on me? He still ran a fantastic job there at the beginning of the race and setting the pace.
And where was Garrett Gerloff making up his time? Well, maybe that's something Hannah's going to ask him. Hannah, what do you think?
That's right. Garrett finished 2nd place in today's race. You know, you're catching up to JD there toward the end. How are you feeling about your race?
I'm not too happy. I mean, like, I know I'm a better rider than that. I knew I had the pace. I just you know, let Debise get up in there. He takes his shots while he can, but I just, you know, messed up the flow of the race. But I should have been right there with JD anyway. Yeah, just you know, I got more of me tomorrow. That's what I'm looking forward to. And it was a tough race, but I'm glad I was able to you know, pace him and at least catch him a little bit there at the end. And really don't like second. I want to get back on top of that podium, but can't thank my team enough. My bike was good. I just was overriding it a little bit in the beginning, and then started coming better. And just got to give it to them. Thanks to all my sponsors, Shoei Helmets, CD Boots, and Quartec Leathers, and everybody that supports me and the team. And I just got to give all the glory to my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. But I'm ready for tomorrow.
Thanks, Garrett.
All right, so Gerloff finishing 2nd in that one will definitely change some things up in the championship. It's going to be a 1-point difference to hit there tomorrow.
For those of you that are racing and doing some club racing, when you can be that honest with yourself and you can assess your race that quickly like he just did, you know, Greg, we said it, he overrode his bike a little bit, but he got held up the first couple laps, and that's something that's going to change for him tomorrow, and that's probably the most determined I've seen Garrett in an after-race interview.
I don't think there's any question. And a Suzuki that finished on the podium, 3rd place, Valentin Debise, is with Hannah right now.
That's right. I'm with Valentin. Back on the podium for you this weekend. Tell us about your race.
After the practice, I was thinking that I had a good race pace, but for some reason, when I go to the race, the bike was a piece of shit. So I honestly cannot do anything. I try to, and then because then I have some space in the back, I just slow down to finish that race. Because if I push, I will finish on the gravel. So that's not what I like, and it's still a podium, but you know, I want to win, and I don't want to stay 3rd or 2nd. So I feel now that we are far away from our goal to win a race, and I feel bad, honestly. But we get one more chance tomorrow. The warm-up will be there to try something and maybe find what we need to stay with them and have some fun.
All right, thanks, Valentin.
Thank you.
All right, the passion of racing right there. Apologize for any words that you may have heard, but Jason?
Stoke level is low, and you know, we talked about honest assessments. I think he gave us his, and you know, normally he's pretty happy when he's on the podium. He's very happy, but today he went 52.9 in qualifying this morning. He went 53.4 in the race, so he's half a second off his best time, and he wasn't happy about it. So hopefully they can go make some changes and figure out what maybe felt a little bit different to him in the race today as opposed to qualifying this morning.
Let's take a look at the race results here as passion is everywhere. JD Beach so happy about his race win. Garrett Gerloff and Valentin Debise not happy with second or third spot. Benny Solis in fourth. Daytona Anderson, a great run from him in fifth spot. And then the first of our Superstock 600 riders, Jason Aguilar with the win over Jason Uribe. Michael Gilbert and Connor Blevins rounding out the top 9. A good mix of manufacturers in this too. And there's my boy Shane Richardson, Nick McFadden, JC Camacho, Braden Nort, Jody Berry, Ezra Bobier, younger brother to Cameron Bobier. You may know him, a couple times Superbike champion, and on back through the field. So a variety of riders coming from around the world as well, as you have New Zealand and Canada, Jason, and these riders are going to download all this information, try to make some changes for tomorrow.
Absolutely, and there's another guy that I think Daytona Anderson and Jason Uribe are going to be another couple of guys. They're going to wish they got a bit better start. We look at our championship here, just so close right now between these two guys. Whoever makes a mistake, 1 point difference between JD Beach and Garrett Gerloff. Benny Solis there in third, Valentin there fourth. Brandon Posh, who isn't here this weekend, and we'll get into that a little bit more tomorrow. He's in fifth still currently in the standings. Then we got Connor Blevins, first of our Superstock guys, Aguilar, McFadden, and Michael Gilbert round out the top 9 as they're still getting credit for points here in Supersport. And so even though you see the red number plates there are Superstock guys.
So here's a look at the podium. And of course, the manufacturer of choice is Yamaha with the big win, having JD Beach stand on top and get his first place trophy here at Utah Motorsports Campus. All right, we'll take a break on BN Sports. Don't go anywhere. We have more coming from the racetrack. Hold on. MotoAmerica on BN Sports was presented by Dunlop and the all-new Sport Max Q3 Plus. Now you don't have to sacrifice mileage to get top performance. Dunlop Q3 Plus. And powered by Kawasaki. Let the good times roll. Welcome back to Utah Motorsports Campus in Tooele, Utah, where the Superstock 600 race has concluded. And we already talked to the top 3 in Supersport. But let's get down to Hannah, who has our winner from the Superstock 600 class, Jason Aguilar.
That's right, Greg. I'm here with Jason. First win of the season for you, but we were chatting just a moment ago, and you said the weekend's not over just yet. Can we expect to see you do the double like everyone else in the class has so far this season?
I mean, you never know. Everyone steps up come day 2. We made some big changes before that race. Wasn't sure if they're going to work out or not. I struggled the first couple laps, then tire kind of went off. I actually ended up going better, and you know, I somehow pulled it together. I don't know how, but they were right on me the whole time. So, you know, I'm happy with the win, but not time to celebrate yet.
All right, well, best of luck to you tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank you, Hannah.
All right, congratulations, Jason Aguilar. A great win for him. You know, that's pretty good.
He could celebrate a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit, right? I mean, that's all I'm saying, you know. I mean, come on.
You know, you got another race tomorrow, but another race is just another race day. You can celebrate winning your first AMA National, and I think our MotoAmerica National. I think it's a great job by him, and for him to do 55 flat says a lot about the setup that they changed or maybe made a couple of adjustments to. He's got some very good guys in his corner. So, and I knew it's been coming. You know, it's been coming for him.
And the interesting thing is he seemed surprised that the bike worked better when the tires went off, and so that's some information he's going to be able to go back to the pits and download as well. So there you go. The Superstock 600 race is done. We've talked to those winners. More to come from Utah Motorsports Campus. We're going to take a break. Don't go anywhere.